but we're going to keep working on it a little bit before we can look into it. So we're going to expand the invoice date until sales are shown. So we are going to click on the plus in front of the invoice date, and we want it to say month. So now we have month instead of quarter or year. So now it's looking at it by month. Then we're going to go ahead and add invoice date from dimensions to the filter pane. So right here is the filter pane. We are going to take invoice date. So invoice date right here. And we're going to go ahead and drop it into the filters. And now it's popping up with this filter field. So what we're going to do in the filter field is select range of dates. Then you're going to select next. And then you want to set, it says select the filter for invoices through September 30th, 2021. So I'm going to change this to September 30th. Just like that. And now it will show that. Click on, we're going to go ahead and press OK. Now it changed the chart a little bit for us to view. And we're going to go ahead and go to the Analytics tab. We want to go to the Analytics tab up here. Look at Model. Under Model, we want to do Forecast because that's what we're looking for, is a forecast. And then we're going to go ahead and left click on the flat forecast line right here. And then we're going to edit it by changing the forecast options. So let's go ahead, forecast options. We're going to edit this and we are going to make it look a little different. So what we're going to do is one second, let me make sure we're on the right track. We're going to go to exactly. We want it to be 3 months because like we said, we're talking about those 3 specific months. We're going to ignore 0 months, last 0 months. We're going to go down here, we're going to customize, and then we're going to go ahead and do additive. And then this is what it should be looking like. So currently using source data from March 2020 to September 2021 to create a forecast through December 2021. So it's all looking good. Go ahead and press OK. Now we have it looking like this for us. And we're going to go ahead and continue where we left off. So now we can see this little forecast of those months. What are the forecasted sales for October 2021? So October 2021, if you're looking at this right here, it says October 2021 estimate of $128,030 for the invoice total. Then for November, we have $143,413 for the invoice total. And then the expected for December is $158,796 for the invoice total estimate for December 2021. Now, that's great. So now we can see the forecast. The next step we're going to do is create a new worksheet. And in this new worksheet, we're going to call it the Q4 actual. So now we're going to look at what actually was the revenue. So Q4 actual, perfect. And then we're going to add the invoice total over here to the rows line, like we did before. And we're going to add the invoice date to the column line, like that, at the top. And then expand until months are shown. So again, up here, it looks like it says year. We got to do this until it says month, because again, we're looking at the months side by side. So now we have this new chart. What are the actual sales for October 2021? So if we go up past August, September, we have, if we can express it out a little bit more. So for October, our actual sales were $223,082. For November 2021, it was $258,881. And lastly, for December, it was a big drop to $77,687 for the actual sales. So, after looking at all of those charts, the forecast, the actual, the average sales by customer, the total sales by customer, and the 2021 revenue trend, we're going to create a dashboard on Tableau. A dashboard is a lot different to do, so we're going to take this step by step. And the first thing we're going to do is open a new dashboard. So this is done by going ahead and creating a dashboard. Now, instead of pressing the sheet one down here, we're going to press this icon, which is for the dashboard. And then we're going to go ahead and drop in all of the sheets that we just worked on. So first off is our 2021 revenue trend. We're going to drop it right there. Total sales by customer, we're going to drop that over here. And you can adjust these as you want. Average sales, we're going to drop that down below the total sales. Next we have the Q4 forecast. We're going to drop it down here below the revenue trend, and then actual we're going to drop below the forecast so you can compare those two side by side. So now let's do some adjustments so it looks a little bit cleaner and easier to interpret for whoever is watching this or looking at it. So now, as you can see, once I move myself out of the way, we have the revenue trend 2021, we have the Q4 forecast, the Q4 actual, and then we have the average sales by customer and the total sales by customer. So we have all of those steps now, and the last thing we're going to do is answer some few questions about the sales amounts obtained in part 2. So the first question is, what months significantly underperformed expectations? That would be the month of December. So the expected was, what did we say earlier? The expected was 158,796, and the actual sales were actually 77,687. So that's a really significant decrease, and it definitely underperformed its expectations. The next question is, what months significantly outperformed expectations? So when we look at the forecast against the actual down here, you'll see that October and November definitely outperformed expectations. So October was expected to have forecasted sales of $128,030, and November was supposed to have forecasted sales for $143,413 for total sales. But the actual sales respectively were $223,082 and $258,881. So both those months, they definitely outperformed the expectations that were set and forecasted. The next question is, what inherent weaknesses does this forecast have? So there is some weaknesses that are shown on this forecast that shouldn't be pushed off. The forecast shows steady, smooth, slight increase. As you can see right here in this part, it's a steady, smooth, slight increase. But in reality or actuality, the actual has spikes. It has dips from month to month. And that's because we don't know why, but the chart could be less weak if we use historical data rather than short historical data. So use data from years before during that same month range to see if it continues to dip in December as it did there. And also, this does not take into account any external factors. So those external factors could have more spikes and dips based on what they cause for the organization. Lastly, what audit evidence will the auditor need to obtain during the audit to become comfortable with revenue during Q4? So some types of audit evidence would be analytical procedures. So these could be used to compare Q4 to prior years of Q4s, to analyze the spikes in October, because like I said, October was really beyond the expectations. And then the drops in December, because December significantly dropped below expectations. So looking at other years' Q4 would be really beneficial to see if this is a trend that happens yearly. And another audit evidence that the auditor needs to obtain would be sales transaction documentation. So this would be invoices, shipping confirmations, delivery confirmations. All of that documentation needs to be used to look at, to see what else will be happening during Q4 in the future and now. All right, and thank you for your time, and thank you for going through the analyzation of the Roger Company. and bye.